for joining. Lovely to see you folks joining the live stream tonight. How are you doing? I have an errant piece of hair sticking up. Other than that, I am fine. All right, I'll just give a few minutes for others to arrive. For joining. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. All right, so happy Monday, everybody. I'm thank you so much. Glad you're enjoying it. I'm really happy to be on the live stream tonight doing a live songwriting session for a song I've been working on for a while, but I haven't finished because, I just needed some space from it, I think, to kind of get centered in it again. So, some of you who have been so lovely and attending my live streams over the last year may remember this song. I think I brought it to a Musical Mondays maybe last spring sometime. But I've kind of put it away since then. It's called Microdoses. And I did a post on it on social media, I think yesterday, where I was talking a little bit about the meaning of the song for me and how that shifted a bit. So the idea of Microdoses, that's my working title. I don't know if it'll actually end up being called Microdoses once I finish. But I think, when I first started writing it, I was really, buried in my own grief and I was doom scrolling and the whole thing. My own grief about thinking about the climate catastrophe and the climate emergency and feeling a bit hopeless and about humanity's ability to change in time, to make a big difference to the things that were happening to the world. This is, I'm sitting on the southernmost tip of Vancouver Island on the Pacific coast of Canada. So I'm sitting in a pretty privileged position being in Canada. We haven't experienced major issues yet, and our supply chains have been pretty good and all of that. Having said that, we did experience a pretty intense heat event in the summer of 2021, a heat dome, they called it, and it was, I forget how many days, I think 5 days of temperatures that we've really never seen or rarely seen. No, I think never. I think I can say never confidently that we've never seen here. And I think that really affected me. I was living in an apartment building then. Most people don't have air conditioning here because we've never needed it. But, you know, I was living in an apartment building and it was over 50 degrees in my apartment. And, hello, thanks for joining. And we couldn't stay there. My partner and I had a puppy at the time, and we were really worried about what was going to happen to the puppy. And we didn't have a vehicle that had air conditioning. So I was a member of one of the car co-ops here, and rented a car for a couple of days, which is completely counter to, I know not helping the issue of climate change and damage to the climate, driving a car around. And yet it was the only thing that I could think of for us to do to stay cool. So we drove up island to a beach my sister told us about, on the east side of Vancouver Island that was shaded. It was in the shade most of the day, and we made it to this beach. And I remember driving over the Malahat, which is a mountain just outside of Victoria, and watching the temperature on the car go up and up and up and up. The outside temperature gauge. And I was thinking, oh my, like, I can't believe these temperatures. Like, this is... I was in shock. So anyway, we got to this beach and we basically just lay in the water for 2 days to keep ourselves cool. And when we could finally go back to our apartment, I remember opening the cupboards and there, like, things like chocolate had just melted all over the place. It was so hot, and the fruit we had just like rotted in the bowl. So that actually really affected me, and I know that there were a number of other things happening that summer in other places around the world. And I would say that's the first time that I feel like I experienced something like that, something extreme like that, I feel like I'm a person that's fairly aware of what's happening. I read a lot. I know that things are changing, that there's species degradation and ecosystem degradation that's very serious. For those of you who know me, I release a lot of songs about bees and talk about bee habitat a lot. So knowing all that, actually experiencing something, embodying it and feeling it somatically, was pretty horrifying and transformational for me. So that is a bit of the backstory of where this song, heat dome, exactly. That's what I'm talking about, Bernie. So that's where this song grew out of. And I started writing this song about my grief and my terror and my absolute kind of feeling that I could not do anything to affect change fast enough to save us. Am I that worried about saving us? I'm not so sure I'm worried about saving us, but saving this place we live in, this beautiful planet. They were brutal days. It's true. But then I left this song for a while because I also feel like it's talking about terror and grief and anxiety about these things is not helpful either. Kind of ruminating on that nonstop is not helpful either. So I had to go away from the song because it was like, okay, am I really gonna write another doom and gloom song? Like, come on, Kele. Like, what is the point of you doing that? So instead, I started to think maybe I need to be thinking about the idea of healing and change a little bit more. And so thinking about the concept of microdoses. So microdosing medication is taking small amounts of something, kind of sub-therapeutic to get you used to the effect it might have on your body. So the idea of microdosing the apocalypse, which is the first line of this song so far, was the idea of, similar idea, sub-therapeutic, but maybe through these microdoses like I experienced in the heat dome here, that can spur some kind of change of heart and move minds and hearts to do something different. So that's kind of where I'm going with the song. I hope that made sense, what I was saying. So why don't I play a little bit of it? Yes, okay, so theme of the song. Musically, I'm playing this capoed on the 5th fret. So don't ask me what key it's in right now. I actually haven't sat down and figured that out. Somebody else will probably put it in the chat, which is totally cool if you do. But I fell in love with the sound of this chord. Verse and a little bit of a change up. So the words I've got so far are: we are microdosing the apocalypse. It's hard to believe we're this close. Is it love after all? It all depends on how close we are to the end. Then the next part goes: it's too hard sometimes to see the end right in front of me. And see, I'm not sure if I want the word end in there. It could be love I'm looking for, or another word like that. So that's, I think I'm mostly okay with that part of the song, with a few changes. Maybe a couple of word changes or something. I really like so far I'm really liking the vocal line. It kind of plays with my soprano range a bit. And I need to think about a chorus. Maybe it's a chorusless song, I'm not sure. I like the change where I go into this E minor C pattern, because it gets into a different part of my voice and my range. So then I also have another part, which is an F shape, an A minor shape, and a G shape. So I'm just gonna fiddle with that a little more and see what comes. Please include comments in the chat if you like something, give it a heart. You say, keep the word end in there, or add the word love. I'd love to hear that. And you know, I love how just fiddling around with a song, doing some writing, new things come every time I do. And just the last time I just went through that verse, this little hammer. Hello, Electric Soul Music. Thanks for joining. This little hammered note came in there because initially I was just playing this chord straight, but I added a little hammer. Kind of liking that. So it might not be that that ends up in the guitar part, depending on the arrangement of the song. I might add that into another instrument or something. Anyway, nice accidents like that happen. And I'm still getting the timing, sorting that out. In the key of F. Thanks, Dan. See, I knew you would come through. It's an F sus second chord, so this one. And it's in the key of F. Thank you. I would have gotten there eventually, but I love throwing out these music theory skill testing questions, and I know that Dan is always up for them. My friend Dan, love ya. You're great. And you probably tell that I changed up the phrasing that time. It's a little different every time I sing it, actually. I really like going into that part of the song. All right, well, let me continue. Let's continue. Thank you for the hearts. really not grooving on that second verse. I really don't like the words. I don't know if you could tell, but I kind of over a lot of them because I'm really not happy with them. It's kind of my doom scrolling self, I think, wrote that verse there. I won't even read it out because I don't want it to kind of settle into my mind. So I'm thinking I might just improv something a little bit. Also so this could be coming into the chorus. Okay. Yes, Gerhard, it is part of the song that I'm writing. This is the song I'm playing with right now, Microdoses. Yeah, this has been a good session for me, so thank you for listening, everybody. We're at the 24-minute mark, so I'm probably gonna wind down a bit. Thank you. And yeah, thank you for listening and your encouragement on that. And thank you for the key, Dan. Super helpful. It's funny. Every time I do this, I get a little further along. So I actually need to get quite a bit further along. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for listening. Because I have a deadline to finish this song by next week. So, I need to write the chorus, which is a big part of the song. So the chorus and another verse, but I'm feeling like I'm getting there. You know, when you write songs, for those of you who are songwriters and you start to feel it in your bones, I'm starting to get there with this song. So I'm feeling optimistic. Thanks for being part of the process, Bernie. I appreciate you being here. So I'm going to sign off for this week, and I thank you all for tuning in and listening to a little bit of the creation story of the song Microdoses, which is still in progress. And I hope to bring you the finished product in a couple of weeks, because over the next couple of weeks I have some great guests lined up. Next week, I think I'm going to have my friend Lara on the live stream, if she's available still, to talk about an artist retreat that she just returned from in Iceland. She was there for 2 weeks, so we're going to talk about creation and artist retreats. And then after that, I'm getting ready for the release of my next single, which is an Atlas to Earth EDM remix of my song Vanishing of Bees. So I'm going to have a special guest on from a bee farm here in the Victoria area talking about bee habitat, and we'll talk about the song too. And then after that, the next week I'll have R. Mason, who's a Victoria singer-songwriter, on the show talking about a film that she and John Flatman, who some of you might remember is a videographer I've worked with, they made a film about music and mental health. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks' time as well. So you can find all of that on my socials. I will be posting about it. And if you haven't pre-saved my next single yet, I would so appreciate a pre-save. There's a link in my Instagram bio and in my stories, or if you're on Twitter, it's in my my pinned tweet. So there it is. So I'll leave you with that and say thanks for joining and have a great week, and I hope to see you next week. All right, take care. Bye.